Hey guys, today I'm basically just going to be doing okay, here we go, one more time. Hey guys, so today I'm basically just going to be doing a get ready with me kind of thing, just to show you guys like what I use, how I do everything, just because I feel like I should start out that way rather than like tips and tricks, you know what I mean? And I'm also definitely gonna try really hard not to say like seriously and basically as much as I did in my last video, because I watched it and I was like, get it together. My skin's been really dry lately. I use the Peter Thomas Roth Cloud Cream. This stuff, I have the sample size right now just because I don't really like spending that much money if I don't think that it's gonna really work for me. But this stuff is like, it's actually a primer and a moisturizer, and it literally feels like water on your skin. You need the smallest amount to cover. I just used 2 tiny drops on my middle finger to do my whole face. Like, this stuff literally just glides on like a breeze. It's amazing. This sample size will probably last me like a month, I would say. This stuff is awesome. Little goes a long way. Just because I don't want to switch up my routine that much, I am still going to use my Yves Saint Laurent primer on my face because I don't really know how my foundation will react with just the Peter Thomas Roth Cloud Cream. So I am going to use my primer. And like I said before, this stuff you can use really sparingly too. I always just kind of like work it all over my fingertips first, and then I go on. Today, we are going to be using a different foundation. Last time I mentioned how I was using the Hourglass stick. My skin is really dry. Now I'm going to be using the Laurent Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation. This is supposed to be medium to full coverage. The box says, Laura's longest wearing foundation seamlessly fuses to skin with a weightless layer that looks, fits, and feels like a second skin. Medium to full coverage that is naturally you, and it leaves a matte finish, which I like. I do not like to be like dewy and sticky. My thing with liquid foundations is I really don't like to use a brush. I do use the It Cosmetics brush for my stick foundation, only because I like to buff. It looks more seamless when you buff a stick foundation as opposed to a liquid foundation. This is my personal preference. Don't feel like you need to do anything that I do. I use a beauty blender, so I'm basically just gonna take like 3 or 4 pumps of this. I'm gonna take my finger and just dab it all over my face, just because I feel like if you dip your beauty blender right into it, it does absorb a lot of the product, and that is a really big downfall of the beauty blender. You always should dampen your beauty blender before you use it. A good way to kind of like help it out, balance it out. First impression of this, it's not as full coverage as I really was hoping it to be. That could just be the amount of product that I have. I might have to layer it up. But it definitely, right off the bat, is not completely full coverage. You can still see my redness, my pigmentation right around my cheek area, which I definitely always like to cover. And I did just get this foundation last night. The coverage definitely is not bad. It's pretty good, but I am gonna go back in with a second layer, just because I feel like I did not get as much coverage as I want, because I am a full coverage kind of girl. Once you layer it, it definitely does come out as full coverage, which is nice. Because sometimes you have foundations that say that they're going to be full coverage. As you can see, I keep having to go back in and use more product because I am using the beauty blender. Maybe next time we will try our It Cosmetics brush. Always bring the product down, not only onto your neck, but I usually blend it into my ears too, as weird as that sounds. Just because you can notice a big difference if you have a different color foundation on and you don't blend it into your ears. I like this. It really isn't picking up on my dryness. It isn't grabbing in anywhere. It doesn't make my skin look extremely dry like it is, which is really good. So I'm happy about that. For my concealer, Tarte Shape Tape. Right now I'm using light neutral. Because I just got a new foundation, I might be able to get away with light medium again, just because the foundation that I got is a little bit darker than the foundation stick that I was using by Hourglass. So we'll see. But I do use a beauty blender for this part too. This stuff, like a little, ooh, that's really light. A little goes a long way. I always like to kind of like bring it down and highlight with it, just because. Wow. All right, we're gonna blend this out and see how it goes, because this is really light. My first thoughts on this blending with the foundation is I definitely would recommend letting the foundation sit for a little bit longer than I did, because the concealer did kind of get a little tacky and hard to blend out because the foundation was not completely dry yet. So that was bad on my part. So that's the concealer. I don't think that color was actually too light. It did initially look really light. Looking at it right now, it doesn't look bad. To set my under eyes, I use the Kat Von D Lock It Setting Powder in Translucent. And I take a damp beauty blender again. I just kind of like dip in there, just kind of set my under eyes just so my concealer doesn't crease. I always go from the outer to the inner eye just because I feel like it gets into the creases better. Although this step is not necessary, I really do recommend it, especially for people that have dark under eyes and they don't want their concealer to crease or to fade. Putting the powder on, it's called baking, and you just basically, you're just setting the concealer so it won't crease, crack, whatever. And I'll leave this on for probably like until, excuse me, I'm done with like my eyebrows and the rest of my face, and then I'll wipe it off. I'm gonna go in with my bronzer. I use the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer. This thing is obnoxiously huge, but it is obnoxiously amazing. I mean, seriously, look at the pan. You can't beat that. I used this Sonia Kashuk brush from Target that was like $5, and it works wonders. I seriously have had this brush forever and it is amazing. So with this, you just want to follow the natural hollows of your cheeks. Never ever pull the bronzer down past your cheekbone. You would always brush upward, just because if you bring the product down, it is going to make your face a little longer. You're going to look kind of muddy through here, which you don't want. You want it to look like a natural kind of bronze. And I always just do my cheeks, my forehead just a little bit, just because I don't have a big forehead, so I really don't need that darkness to come through. You always brush it back into the hairline. I find that using a bronzer to contour is essentially a lot easier than like trying to blend out a cream contour and then making it look dirty, if that makes any sense. And also, if you ever feel like your contour did get too low, you can go back in with some translucent powder and just clean up the edges. And you should follow that right to about the outside of your lips. Now I'm gonna move on to my eyes. I do have the, I'm so excited about this. I do have the Carli Bybel palette. I love her. She's a YouTuber and she's so cute. And I did have enough Ulta points to get this for like $3, which was really cool. You open it up, oh my God. You open it up and you have 15 eyeshadows. And you have, I wanna say these are, oh, this kind of reminds me of a Natasha Denona palette with this little thing right here. I want to say these top two right here are highlighters and bronzers maybe, and then these two are highlighters and these two are bronzers. I'm not big on shimmery bronzers. That's not my thing. Looks not great on me. I definitely am not going to do the shimmery bronzers, but I will try the highlight. So I always prime my lids with, again, Shape Tape. You definitely don't need a lot, just a little swipe. You can blend it out with your beauty blender, whatever, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I use my fingertip. Today I'm not feeling it. So I'm just gonna do like a basic warm tone smoky eye. Easy peasy. And don't ever feel like you need to use expensive brushes, because seriously, my brushes are the cheapest things you could ever find in your entire existence in makeup world. Just to start, I am going to use this shade right here. It's at the Shape Tape that's on my lid. So I'm just gonna dip into there. I'm just gonna go all over my lid, just where I put Shape Tape. This step really helps blending if you set your lid with a powder instead of doing, I don't even know what I'm saying, honestly. Next color that I'm gonna take, I'm gonna do this color right here for my transition shade, which is a little bit above your crease. You usually wanna take a big fluffy crease brush like this and just kind of windshield wiper motions right back and forth from outer to inner eye. What I'm seeing with this is the payoff is not that great. It's not really showing up amazingly. And don't feel like you guys need to run out and buy the Carli Bybel palette just to match my look. You can do this seriously with any eyeshadow. And this palette is actually extremely affordable for all this stuff that you get. I think it was like total like $22, which is really good for the amount of product that you're getting. Like I said, I got mine for a lot cheaper because I have a lot of Ulta points, because all I do is go to Ulta and Sephora and waste my money. I think that's pretty good for the transition shade. It shouldn't really be that dark just because it is going out of your natural crease. You are going higher. So now I'm going to take a smaller crease brush. just to really actually work into the crease. And I'm gonna go a little darker. I really like this purple shade right here, but I think I'm gonna start this shade right above it to go into the crease, and then I'm gonna work that purple shade in there too. So with this, you wanna really be straight on, and you just want to back and forth in the actual crease, so you are not going higher. You can take this color higher if you want to, but I find that it looks a lot more blended if you keep the darker shade lower and more directly in your crease, as opposed to the transition shade that goes a little bit beyond that. So basically right now, I don't really have any more product left on my brush, and I haven't dipped back in, so I am just blending, just to make everything a little more seamless, work a little better together. That is the crease. So now, because I really like purple colors, especially for my eye color, purples and pinks really make my eyes pop. So now I am going to dip into this purple shade right here, and I am going to place this is the same brush, on the outer corner and just a little bit into the crease. I'm not going all the way towards the inner eye. I'm keeping this focused on the outer eye. So there you can see we have a little bit of the color in there. I'm actually going to take my Anastasia brush that came in my Modern Renaissance palette, and I am going to take this shade right here just to deepen out the outer corner. And I'm not going to go crazy, and I'm going to keep this color extremely close to the lash line, because especially with this dark of a color, you don't want to go much farther up than that. And I am just going to run this right back over where I put the purple, but I'm keeping it much lower so it's not really ruining the purple color. You can still see the purple. And I am taking a much smaller brush. This is what the tip looks like, and I'm just blending through with that. I don't really know if I like this color for deepening up the outer corner. It kind of looks gray when you put it on the eyelid, which is not my thing. I don't really like cool toned. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that purple shade right back on that crease brush, and I'm just gonna go back in and blend through again. And now for the lid. I think, ooh, I think I like that color. Oh my goodness, wow. I am impressed. I think I'm gonna take this color actually for my lid. Actually, I take my Urban Decay brush that I got with my Naked palette. It's a really good packing brush. It's very flat, as you can see. It's not fluffy, it's very dense and hard, which is nice. I'm gonna take a little bit of my MAC Fix Plus, and I'm just gonna wet the brush because that will pick up so much more pigment. And I am just going to pack this color right on the lid. This color is a little patchy. It's not blending out as well as I would like it to. It is really pretty though. There's no doubt about that. It's coming across as more of a glitter than a shimmer or metallic kind of eyeshadow. For this, you want to bring it a little bit past the middle and just kind of into the outer corner, just a little bit, not all the way, just to kind of like make the look seamless, like avoid having those harsh lines. Okay, so I'm gonna take that same brush and I'm gonna dip into this this white highlighter shade right here, and I'm just going to pack this right on the inner corner. Okay, so yeah, these colors are really, really, really glittery. They're not shimmery at all. This just looks like pure glitter on my, wow, yeah. That's pretty if you're into that kind of thing. I would rather a shimmer than a glitter because I feel like a fairy right now. Okay. All right, well, that's not what I wanted to do, but we're gonna roll with it. So now I will do my eyebrows off camera. Okay, guys, we're having kind of a funky brow day today, but that's okay because they're sisters, not twins. So now I'm gonna go ahead and brush away the excess that I have left of that translucent powder, and I'm going to grab another different brush. I'm actually gonna go back in with that small little Anastasia brush, and I'm going to grab brown orangey shade that I had, and I'm just gonna run this underneath my lower lash line. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to do my lashes. I use the Marc Jacobs. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like this, and that's what I'm gonna do my eyelashes with. Ow! Ugh! It's okay, guys. I'm just gonna let that dry, and I'll wipe her off in a few minutes. Okay, so as you can see, some of it did transfer to my lower lash line, but I always use Lights Camera Lashes by Tarte to do my lower lash line just because I feel like I have more control with this brush as opposed to my Marc Jacobs brush. And then you can see that I have mascara underneath my eyes because... Okay, so now that I have my eyebrows on, I am gonna take a little bit of the same shade that I put on my eyelids, and I'm just gonna put that right underneath my brow bone just to kind of highlight and give a little pop of color, because who doesn't like a brow bone highlight? And now I am gonna go ahead and brush off the translucent powder left right here. Okay, so now I am going to take a little bit of my Urban Decay Velvetizer and just kind of pack this all over the face. This stuff is seriously, like, it's not even, oh my gosh, it feels so smooth. It is a translucent powder, but it really helps mattify your face and keep everything kind of looking good throughout the day. I'm just gonna take my big fluffy brush and kind of dip in there. And I'm just gonna kind of put this where I feel like I have shine throughout the day. And this will really help control. And it just, like, seriously feels amazing. It's so nice. So now I'm gonna scrape off the underneath of my eyes, because you know me, can't ever do anything right. Gosh darn it. Okay, now that I have everything done, I am going to take my highlighter, which is the Becca Champagne Pop, and I'm just going to take my little tiny brush right here, and I'm just going to dip into it and go right above where I put that contour and up a little bit above my eyebrow, and same thing on the other side. And I'm going to use a little bit of setting spray. To hold everything into place, and we are done. This is extremely easy to do. It's just like the basics. So thank you guys for watching again and sticking around. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, guys.